help Ukraine defend itself against any future attack of Russia. The message is very clear. Russia's efforts are wasted. Europe is wholly committed to Ukraine. Then the second big topic we had, of course, Middle East. So last week, Israel and the European Union reached an understanding for the expansion of the humanitarian aid into Gaza. So we see positive signs. We see more trucks and supplies are reaching Gaza. We see more entry points opened. We also see electricity lines being repaired. But Israel needs to take more concrete steps to improve the humanitarian situation on the ground. The European Union will keep a close watch on how Israel implements this common understanding and the pledges, and will update the compliance every 2 weeks. As we go forward, ministers make clear that ceasefire and hostage release deal remain a priority. At the request of the European Council, I also presented ministers an inventory of different measures that could be taken in relation to the review done in June. So we had a discussion on this, and these are choices that the member states have to make. We will keep these options on the table and stand ready to act if Israel does not live up to its pledges. The aim is not to punish Israel. The aim is to really improve the situation in Gaza. On Iran, ministers reiterated that Iran should not have any nuclear weapons, and that diplomacy is the best way and long-term approach to achieve this goal. While the ceasefire is fragile, it offers an opportunity to resume the negotiations, and ministers urged immediately to restart the talks and allow also the United Nations inspectors back in. So the European Union is ready to negotiate. On Georgia, the assault on democracy by Georgian Dream is growing more severe. Today, ministers took stock of EU support to civil society and discussed different options. What more can we do? These include suspending the visa-free regime, the association agreement, and sanctions. Georgia's democratic backsliding will come at cost. And finally, Moldova, the first ever Moldova-EU summit was earlier this month, and it underscored that the European Union is fully committed to Moldova's EU accession. Moldova is now preparing for very high-stakes parliamentary elections coming in autumn, and these polls will be a prime target of Moscow's hybrid war. So today we had a good discussion on that, and today ministers also agreed to impose sanctions on people and entities that aim to destabilize Moldova. We also agreed to deliver more counter-hybrid support, especially before the elections. And this shows that the European Union is determined to safeguard Moldova's democratic process against external interference. So I will stop here and take your questions. Thank you.
Perfect. We will start with Joachim.
No worries. Hello, Joachim Clementi from National Estonian Public Broadcasting. Sorry. So, what happens with the sanctions package now? I'm reading a tweet from Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico, which says that the Commission is giving them insufficient guarantees, nothing in terms of what they want. He says something that he wants is an exemption from the Repower EU plan to stop all energy imports into the EU, to fulfill their contracts with Gazprom until 2034. So is the Commission willing to grant concessions in this long-term Repower EU plan to get this sanctions package over the line, or what happens from now with the package?
these negotiations have been ongoing for quite some time, and as you see, the Commission, the President of the Commission also sent a letter to Prime Minister of Slovakia, reiterating all the things that were really addressing the concerns that they had, and so far it seemed okay. So I don't know what happened in between, probably something in domestic politics, but it is important that we stick to these points. I mean, if you go into negotiations or worries you have, then if your sensitivities are addressed, then it's I think it's important that you don't present anything on top of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Follow up, please. Yes.
So you said to the morning that maybe tomorrow as well, if not today. Is this still what you're hoping for, or what happens from now?
Yeah. No, I was hoping for today, so we really, in the end, really made one final push for that as well. But tomorrow is the discussions also on the technical level. So yes, I'm optimistic and still hopeful that we will reach the decision tomorrow. I want to emphasize that this has been going on for 2 months, so trying to find a solution. And I think the messages also that come from different parts of the world really understanding that we need to put the pressure on Russia. So we should also deliver on that. But at the same time, when I'm saying this, then we have 27 different democracies with 27 different public opinions and oppositions as well, so we need to navigate in that process. But I'm still hopeful that we will get the decision tomorrow.
Vitaly, yes. Vitaly.
Vitaly Sizov, Freedom. From your point of view, how reasonable this request of Slovakia? This first question, and the second question, maybe you discuss the possibility of usage frozen assets to pay for American weapons and to send it for Ukraine. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's not up to me to assess whether requests are reasonable or not. It is every prime minister comes from their own political situation and the worries that are domestically there. So I wouldn't give my assessment, and it doesn't matter anyhow. I mean, the requests are there. When it comes to your other question was, yes, exactly. It is clear that we need more and more funding to stop this war, to Ukraine defend itself, and also to really help Ukraine to defend itself. Now, we have very different views on the frozen assets between the member states. So we have agreed to have a discussion on frozen assets only in the Gimnich format that we have in August with the ministers, because it's important that everybody hears everybody's arguments, and then we can also come up with compromises to address these sensitivities, because I think in the end we all have our own public opinions. We have our taxpayers, and our taxpayers are asking, why isn't Russia, who is causing all the damage, paying for this damage and all the needs that there are? And this is a fair question.
Thank you. We'll go on the front for Nick here. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick from Politico. I just wanted to ask you to expand a little bit on the use of chemical weapons in Ukraine. Is that coming from your own information sources? You're getting that from the Ukrainians? And what was the sort of response in the room? Are we condemning that as the EU? It seems like it's crossing a red line. And the other one on Georgia, you mentioned this morning that a letter was sent to from the Commission to Georgia. Just wanted to ask you to tell us a little bit what was in that letter and what might be the next steps there.
Thank you. This on the chemical weapons. This was the information from the Dutch and German intelligence on this, that they are using the chemical weapons, and of course that it's intensifying. And it's actually public sources as well. I mean, the Ministry of Defense of Netherlands has published this. I will not read it out, also the details there. But it was also surprising for me to hear that since the start of the large-scale invasion in 2022, Russia has carried out more than 9,000 chemical weapons attacks on Ukrainian troops. So that's quite significant. And as these intelligence services are saying that this is intensifying, then I think it's of great concern. Again, it shows that Russia wants to cause as much pain and suffering as possible so that Ukraine would surrender. And, you know, it's really, I mean, unbearable, and that's why we are taking all these steps. Now, on your other question, when it comes to the letter to Georgia, then, as you know, we have the visa-free travel regime for Georgia since 2017, and you know, this is a big benefit that European Union is giving to countries. And therefore, there are recommendations which have been addressed to Georgia in the 7th Visa Suspension Mechanism report. And I will not read it all out here, but I'm just, you know, putting a point on this. For example, the obligations that the Georgian government has to ensure and uphold the protection of fundamental rights of all Georgian citizens, including the freedoms of association, assembly and expression, the right to privacy, the right to participate in public affairs, as well as the prohibition of discrimination. This is just one point, and there are 8 points like this. So the point being that as they have been giving a deadline until the end of August to comply with this, then the question is how do we then react if these recommendations have not been fulfilled. And as we hear that, for example, 7 opposition leaders out of 8 have been put in jail, this is not really in accordance with the first point that I pointed out. I mean, so then so far we have kept this position that we don't want to hurt Georgian people, and taking away the visa-free regime is really having an impact on them. But at the same time, it's also an issue of credibility of the European Union. If we have asked those things, and this is something beneficial or bonus that we are giving to this country, they are not complying with these conditions, then there are also consequences in order for the public also to see that the government is not on the European path and is not, taking the candidacy status seriously.
We'll go over there. Max Olivier, AFP.
Thanks a lot. Max Delaney from AFP. Oh, sorry. But in your introduction, you said that you welcomed Donald Trump's initiative to on the weapons to arm Ukraine, but you want the US to share the burden. What do you mean by that? Can you explain that a bit more? You mean that you don't think it's right that the US is just asking Europe and and Canada to pay for all of these weapons?
Well, if we pay for these weapons, it's our support. So it's European support. And we are doing as much as we can. to help Ukraine, and therefore the call is that everybody would do the same. It's if you promise to give the weapons but say that somebody else who is going to pay for it, it's not really given by you, is it?
And we'll take a last one over there. Noureddin?
Nordin Fridi, Al-Arabiya. Madam High Representative, on the agreement you have with Israel last Friday, since then dozens and dozens of Palestinians are being killed, and as you said, you are going to follow that very closely and report maybe in 2 weeks' time. Madam High Representative, if I look to the agenda, we are in the summer break now. No next FAQ until October, means that the Palestinian, hundreds of Palestinians could be killed in them. So my question is, as the agreement is not fully implemented now, which guarantee you may have soon to let know the Israelis that there are some leverage and instrument should be activated? And I understood that there is no instrument in your hand today. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, of course, it is important, the implementation of the agreement. And yes, we see some worrying signs, but we also see some good signs. I mean, like I said, the border crossings have been opened. We see more trucks going in. We see also reparations of the electricity network and such things, but it's clearly not enough because the situation is still untenable. Now, we agreed that this briefing, our people are constant contact with the international actors on the ground, and also Israel, also the neighboring countries that are, having the control of the crossing points so that they can say what is the actual numbers that are going in. And we agreed that we are doing this via the BSC ambassadors. So every 2 weeks they get updates what is the situation on the ground. Now, the only guarantee we have is that the inventory of all the options that could be taken by the member states is presented, and if the situation is not going to improve, then the member states are also willing to take next steps, because the goal is to improve the situation, because it's really untenable, the humanitarian situation. I mean, we reached this common understanding the end of last week. Today we are in Tuesday. We also heard from our Jordanian counterparts that yes, it's more aid going in, and we see some positive signs. And of course, we need to do more. That's very clear, and we keep on monitoring this. But we do this hand in hand with our international counterparts who are on the ground, like the World Food Programme and who are there. What I want to stress is that why is it much harder right now than it was when there was a ceasefire? Because the war is going on. Also the providers of humanitarian aid are actually at risk. So that's why it's so much more complicated. But we are really trying to, we are putting the pressure and keeping the pressure, and all the member states are really following up on this. I shared, the details of those things. It's not that we are counting every truck all the time, but it's, I think that the trend and whether we see, tangible improvement or we don't see that. I think that's the overall conclusion.
And this brings our press conference to an end. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Oh, right.